There we were, talking about how difficult it was to get online, and suddenly we are online. So, Colleen,
Where
thank you so
everything
much for
is.
being here. A very different Good Morning Portugal this morning. For one thing, it didn't start at 8:31, which is our usual start time. We are a little bit Portuguese, I like to think, fashionably late. And 8:31 came, 8:32 came, 8:33, 8:37, 8:40, getting messages from people. Thank you to all the Gumpers who have loyally stayed around and waited for us to start this morning. So let's do that. Colleen, as you can see on the screen, the CEO and co-founder of Portugal The Place. It's taken us a long time to have this conversation, right?
Oh my gosh, I feel like it's been forever since I've seen you. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, thank you for being here this morning. And we'd love to find out more about what you do. I was saying, I did a quick live stream via my phone just to let everybody know what was happening. And I said there, I made the claim that you've changed Portuguese society. I think in many ways you have attracted and helped many people to come to Portugal, and the epicenter of that has been Alcobaça, isn't it? The Silver Coast here, not a million miles away from where we are. Tell us about how that begun and why Alcobaça.
Well, we landed in Alcobaça ourselves due to a combination of, I think, fate and where we were supposed to be, and then falling in love with a central location. The Silver Coast, we're not that far away. It's just perfect for us to be able to really enjoy all that Portugal has to offer. And it's a great community. It's it used to be underappreciated. Now I feel like people know where it is. But when we moved here, people just didn't really know. They knew Nazaré, they knew the coastline, but Alcobaça has a ton to offer in a really amazing European lifestyle, which is everything that I was looking for. We were looking for that option to wake up in the morning and go out and be like, wow, I don't live in the United States anymore. I am in Europe. And that's what Alcobaça delivers for me.
It does, doesn't it? What a beautiful place. Every time I go, I love it more and more. It's such a beautiful town with so many lovely, in a very typically Portuguese way, lots of extra secrets. Each time you go, you discover something else down a little side street. I'm imagining you know it very well now, you and your team.
Yes.
So you didn't come here to start Portugal The Place, did you? I mean, you came here for that reason, so that you could wake up somewhere different and enjoy Europe. And then your plans got changed for you, didn't they?
Well, kind of. We came during COVID. So like many people, we woke up in the US with the change in our lifestyles and our jobs. And we thought this was a moment for us to reevaluate, and we decided, let's do it. Let's move to Europe. And so moving during COVID, our original plan, because our background was in tourism and project planning and hospitality, was to open a small hotel or, maybe do something in hospitality like that. And then, of course, COVID went on a lot longer than we kind of all expected. And it seemed like maybe that wasn't the place to put our basket of eggs, right? When you are getting here and we don't know what's going to happen with tourism. And then just very quickly, people who knew us and people who knew that this was our background said, hey, you did this. Could you help us? And so it evolved. We actually feel like we saw a really big need and said, okay, how can we help? And we sit firmly between immigration firms and like real estate agents. We pick up all the squishy stuff in between. And so that was where a lot of people were, getting lost was, yes, you could find a lot of help with visas. Yes, you can always call someone to buy a house, but it's the navigating all those little pieces in between in Portugal that we've really found to be the place we can help people the most.
And my goodness, you've certainly done that for people, haven't you? You've got, I was looking for you online this morning. That's your main website, of course.
Yes, that's our main website.
And you have a portal now for the people you help too. So I remember first hearing about you in Alcobaça. There are these folks, and they've got a shop front in Alcobaça. And my goodness, you've had a meteoric rise, haven't you, in how successful the company's been, how many people you've helped. What are those numbers, would you say, in terms of people you've helped move to Portugal?
So we're over 700 700 clients we've helped in the last almost 2.5 years.
Wow.
all over Portugal. We
Yes.
cover all of mainland Portugal. So from the Algarve to Viana do Castelo and everything in between. We have 3 core services. We do location scouting for folks that aren't quite ready and they don't know exactly where they want to land. We help them really be intentional and look at things through the lens of living here.
Yeah.
And then we do relocation packages that support people, whether they're renting or purchasing, and help them with everything from moving their animal to moving their goods and services, helping them if they want to get their kids in school, if they need to have projects done on their property, managing, like light refresh projects, helping them navigate Portuguese legal issues, like connecting them with vetted folks that can help them. Really everything. I mean, we've done everything from move a family that had 10 parrots to helping people with multiple kids go to different schools. We've moved aging parents and everything in between. So it's really being a team. There's 16 of us now on the team in Portugal, the place. We have 8 people.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, all over the country. And we have 8 people in Alcobaça. We have a storefront and we have a studio called, we have a service called Ajuda, which is right on the nose. It's help. We help people once they're here. They can hire us to help them with translation, navigating websites, receiving packages, finding vendors. So it's like a concierge program as well. So folks have some additional resources to turn to when they're getting their lives set up.
I mean, you have just been so incredibly proactive. It seems like every challenge you see for somebody wanting to move to Portugal, you've just run in there and made a solution for it. Would that be a fair assessment?
It is, because we learn about what someone needs. Someone comes to us, it'll always be like a first time. And then we're like, okay, let's dig in. Let's figure out how to solve this issue. And then Clyde, my husband, and I, we laugh about the fact that we should have named the company Just Don't Do What We Did. Because we felt like a lot of our issues were just, okay, wow, we really stumbled through that. Let's figure out a way to do it better. And then as we've learned, we've just applied that. And we move. We have Dutch. You met our big fluffy Newfie Doodle. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
125-pound Newfie Doodle that we moved from the States and live in Portugal with. And then our daughter Fiona, who works for the company, she moved over and she's 22. So we have that whole experience of kind of moving with that generation. And then my father moved over with us, and he passed away this summer in August. But he had.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't know that. I met your dad.
He had an amazing journey. 3 years here in Portugal, just was the happiest man in Alcobaça.
Yeah, I remember.
He was just in it and loving it. And then, his time came. And even with that, and as difficult as it has been, navigating losing your father,
sure,
I have been gifted these years with him in this new experiences in Portugal to see it through our eyes together. And then navigating losing him has taught us a whole bunch of additional things that we now really try to get out to our team and our people to make sure they're prepared if something like that happens with them. So everything that's happening in our lives, I feel like, has served us in a way to help other people be prepared.
It's like literally every aspect of life, the arc of life here in Portugal.
In a very short time.
Well, I was just about to say that. I mean, there you are dealing with, everything start to finish, young kids, family, pets, and the passing of parents and so on. Incredible. And in 4 years, by the sound of it. And that's what I want to ask you about. I mean, one of our main, the thrusts of our conversation this morning, which we'll pick up with Tony Bryant, the Portugueser, at 9:30. Is this thing about the Portuguese housing crisis? Stop blaming the foreigners. And you'll have faced this and answered this before, which I won't ask you to do now. I'm hoping you'll come back on a regular basis. But that, as well as many other things, you have seen so much change in this country and culture in that short space of time. I mean, the journey's been intense, hasn't it?
It has, and it's changing all the time. That's the one thing, is that you really don't want to get into this work if you're not prepared to be comfortable with change, because it is a substantial, constant stream of information that's moving and adjusting. I do feel like I'm very comfortable with speaking to the housing situation. I'm right in the thick of it. I see it from all sides. And I am very proud to say that one of our commitments, Clyde and I, was that we would hire Portuguese folks at more than the minimum wage. We hire at living wages, provide the support, because I personally believe that the housing crisis cannot be solved with just punitive measures towards people that are buying the properties. We need to change the wages. We need to get people in a situation where they can afford to purchase a home. The whole world has a housing crisis, and it's a disparity, in my opinion, between the wages people are paid and the availability of reasonable priced housing. So for me, I think that as an owner of a corporation in Portugal, and I tell you what, it is not easy, Carl. It has been.
I'm with you.
That is the hardest thing. The whole owning a corporation, having all of these employees on contract, working through it. You are not incentivized as a Portuguese company owner to make a profit or to succeed in that way. Every time you go a little bit, there's another tax. And as an employer, I struggle to make sure that I can pay these wages when we hire someone, because I am committed to that. There is no way we're going to fall back off of that commitment, but they don't make it easy. And
amazing. I love your values, your ethics in going into business here. And I feel your pain. Similar scars, not the same scale of scars by the sound of it, but I know exactly what you're talking about. And you've been very polite there. I think, they don't incentivize. I mean, you could put it a different way, and I would. It's disincentivized, isn't it? I mean, it's like there must be times where you're thinking, I don't. Why is this so difficult? You've firmly taken the bull by the horns there, with what you think the issues are. You've kind of, I see what's happening. I'll raise you with some decent wages for people and an excellent service that could be that is a great contribution to the economy. And it's being made really difficult for you to do that. I mean, that's insane, isn't it?
It is. It's funny because I was at a cafe the other day with Portuguese friends, and we were having a coffee and we were talking, and then we were kvetching about taxes. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, you are so Portuguese now. All you need is a cigarette." And you were like right in the mix. And I felt so privileged to be sitting there with these people that have owned businesses for 15, 20, 30 years in Portugal. And we were like, about this and that. And they were like, "Okay, now you are Portuguese because you get it. The tax burden on business owners." Yes. And the vendors we support, all the projects, all the people, the plumbers, the contractors, the small businesses that we use to help our folks get settled. These people are all benefiting from folks that can come in and buy homes or rent homes. And I think this negativity, it's the foreigners that are doing this, is really tough, because if we pull that out, there's a whole impact that will happen way beyond. It's a ripple effect way beyond the real estate market.
Well, and it's not confined to Portugal, of course. This is from the political playbook, isn't it? In every country,
yes,
the foreigners can make for quite an easy target. I think the politicians just kind of walk away when the population is saying it's the foreigners, and the politicians sort of just ease out of the frame and say, "Yeah, it might be the foreigners. We've got to go and have lunch now. Bye."
Yeah.
This is a very complex situation, and I think hopefully it will change over time. And I imagine you're figuring out ways to lobby and represent yourself in a way that might be part of that.
We're trying. We haven't really been able to focus on the political piece because, quite frankly, the amount of work that we've had has kept us very nose to the focus on our business. But what we do know is, after a couple of years of being in Alcobaça, the support from the local business community, the restaurants, the city hall, the local businesses has been really wonderful, because they see there's skepticism. And of course there's pushback saying, as more people in the Silver Coast are foreigners buying property, they feel like property prices have gone up. But once they see that there's a lean back, that they want to contribute to the community, that they're eating in the restaurants, they're having their dogs groomed at the groomers, they're going in and using all the different services, the medical, all of a sudden, I think the business people are like, "Oh, okay, I get this. I see this. These properties are it's Portuguese folks that are selling these houses. These are the prices that they're putting on the houses." Yes. Okay, so they made that money, and these people are investing back in the communities they live in. It's not an easy subject, and I agree. We have to be thoughtful and considerate, and I would never encourage someone to come here and feel like they should change the way people do their life or their culture. If you live here, you should be jumping in with both feet and supporting the community you live in.
Well said. Excellent stuff. And I'll be honest with you, when you first started and you had a shop front and you told me about the scale of your team, I thought that's very brave to go into it like you say, with both feet. What do you think is your secret? Because you must have had other people thinking, well, steady on. You know, you're going against the business tide. You're tooling up very rapidly. You've got a shop front in Alcobaça. You're employing loads of people. That's incredible, and some might say sort of risky growth. You know, that's extremely quick growth. What's your secret that's pulled it off?
Well, it is risky growth, and I have many sleepless nights. So trust me, I am my own worst critic. My husband and I, we talk about it, but I believe that you can only do so much online. We have gone into a society of trying to make everything as easy as possible, but some things need a human connection.
Okay.
And when our folks have a chance to have a soft landing and they can come in and they can meet the people that are helping them, that they know that that person that holds their apartment key and is going in and managing their things while they're still getting set to move, they know these are real people and that we are all invested in this and that we are completely, you know, part of their process. And the human connection is what sets us apart. And I think that in this day and age, people are yearning for that. They want to look someone in the face and say, you did this, can I do this? Yes. And we're like, we got you, we've got your hand, and we're going to help you through this. And it, I think, allows people to focus more on the other things that they need to worry about. A lot of social media forums, a lot of places talk about DIY. You don't need anyone. And that's true. You can do everything on your own. But what if you didn't have to, and that allowed you to be more intentional and focus on the things you need to do to make a smooth transition? So that's where we're at. And I think having physical people that are engaged and part of all of the moving pieces, and we all work together and we are all bonded as a team, has given us that secret sauce of being people. We literally can put that out there. We can say, we are your people. We see you, we meet you, we talk to you, and we're always available on the other end of that WhatsApp group, or when you arrive, we're there smiling at the airport and helping you get set up in your house. That's who we are, and we'll never change that, no matter if it would be more profitable to just become automated, you know.
And that's the temptation, isn't it? I mean, that's perhaps another thing that both you and I have seen in this culture is that's standard operating procedure of the modern Western business, isn't it? Is to be a startup that gets sold off and to be as lean as possible and cut down all those messy human interactions. You've gone the other way, haven't you? Because the other thing about that is that this culture, the Portuguese culture, is not like that, and it still remains a very human culture. And I think you've read that wonderfully, and so all power to you, and you know, respect to you for seeing that and making the most of it. Frankly, so perhaps we can talk. Sorry, go on. You wanted to add something?
No, I just wanted to say that the best part about our daily life and like where I am today, I'm in my office today, is I will be joined. We are half and half. We are Americans and we are Portuguese, and we are a relocation team. So we can solve problems from both angles. We've got the North American point of view. We have the Portuguese point of view, and we collaborate and we've learned from each other. I'm actually much calmer and slow than I used to be. Doesn't feel like it, but I am. And they have gotten more comfortable with the understanding of customer service from the point of view of a North American, you know, having more communication, maybe more different kind of touch points. So we're learning and teaching each other, and that gives us power, that gives us support, and that gives us the ability to help folks. And I don't think that's something that needs to be automated away. I think that's actually something that should be built upon. And the more connections like that, I think the better it is for everyone. So
I love that. Absolutely love that, because online you'll be having the conversation and the disagreement about which of these ways is best. I want to be, you know, I want a response whenever I phone or email, and Portuguese people, well, you know, calma, tranquilo. It doesn't work like that. And then it can be polarized, can't it, to which is best. It sounds like you're actually living the hybrid of that. You're working together every day in an office together with each other as a team and facing the clients and finding out what actually works for people and getting the best of both worlds.
Absolutely. It's a joy every day. The team we have are amazing people. I've learned so much, except Portuguese. I'm still struggling. My Portuguese is not coming along as well as I wish, but on all other points, I feel like we are just learning and growing. And I hope in the future we can have some of the team on so that you can have a chance to meet these amazing people.
We'd love to do. We'd love to talk to you to more. It's been a long time this happening for one reason or another. But we're talking to you now, which is great. And it nearly didn't happen because of the software. But I feel like I'm modeling your business model and approach to life. We're just not going to stop here. We're going to make this happen, and that's exactly what you've done. So I'd like to talk to you more broadly about how you see things, because we've touched on some of the, I guess we could call it negativity or challenges of the culture, which, 3 or 4 years ago, I described myself as a Portuguese Pollyanna. I found it very difficult to criticize or say anything negative. And we've been through a very steep learning curve for all sorts of reasons. I think culturally, societally, the way the world is changing, politically now around the rest of the world. And for me, it's shifted from, that Portugal can do no wrong to actually the world is a very different place to what it was 3 years ago. And we're talking, relatively speaking, it is still a fabulous place if you compare and contrast and relate it to where a lot of us are coming from. So things have changed a little bit. How do you see that? And in this rapid change from 2020 into the world we're in now, more criticism, more anxiety, people being a little bit more picky and choosy, and frankly anxious about the choice they're making when moving to Portugal. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I think the anxiety is really part of the world we're living in. I think it's spilling over into every part of citizens, cultures, countries. I feel like you're seeing it everywhere. We're traveling and we're picking it up from, we were in Italy a couple weeks ago. We were in Budapest. We're listening to conversations. We've been talking to people that are moving, and there's a level of increased anxiety that we just, are really, I think, all very in tune to. But when it comes to Portugal, I believe that this country, in my opinion, is a very old and young country at the same time. We have this relatively new government. If you think about it, in my opinion, 1975 wasn't that long ago, and their whole processes of moving into this new government has been, this is a process of growth in a country with very, very ancient and set traditions. And that's bound to cause, some friction and challenges. And they've had to move rapidly into a world that has economic challenges and a lot of pressures on living up to expectations. So Did Portugal disappoint me with some of the changes that they've made? No. And the reason being is that I feel like, first off, I'm going to hit a couple things on the head. NHR. It was a scheme. It was never a law. It was never something that was supposed to last forever. Did they do it in a way that I wish they would have made easier? Absolutely. Am I surprised that they took it away? No, because when certain things start to have outlived their usefulness, there's something else that will come along that will be better. I feel the same way with what they're doing with the Airbnb licenses. Has it been handled well? No. Is there a basis of understanding of why they're trying to figure something out? Yes. Yeah. So in my mind, I feel like there's still a process that has to be in play. And I can't criticize Portugal because, trust me, my own country does not have things figured out. So I can't cast stones. All I can do is try to be understanding and not take it into a point of feeling like they're trying to do it to me. I feel like we get too personal. And I know it's more about like, we're trying to figure this out and it's tough. Now, the rest of the things about Portugal that I moved to Portugal for are here every day. Yep. Safety. As an American, I now wake up and go and walk and don't carry keys in my hand as a woman. And I forget to lock my car. And I don't worry when I go shopping or I'm in large spaces that I have to look for the exits. There is no dollar amount I can put on that comfort and that safety. So for me, Portugal is still delivering the number one reason we moved. Healthcare options, the fact that when my father passed away and had a month's worth of a stay in a hospital with major intensive care stays and everything, and he had very limited health insurance because of his age, I'm not bankrupt. I was able to go through that process and have an amount of money that was what I considered reasonable for the intense amount of care that they provided him in the last 3 weeks of his life. Wow. That wouldn't have happened in the United States. Sure. So for me, the beauty, the people, the culture, the experiences of being in Europe, plus safety and the safety net of a reasonable healthcare system, there's the rest of it I'll deal with. because it has made it worth it. So I'm not a Pollyanna. I know Portugal has its issues. There's things I wish they would change. I'd be happy not to pay the tax on the tax of the license that I had to get. But
sounds a bit painful, that one.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? The rest of it.
Absolutely. I absolutely know what you mean. Yeah,
so
nowhere's perfect, is it? Nowhere's
perfect. My worst day in Portugal is still one of my best days that I've had.
That's a lovely thing to be able to say, and presumably it's something you do say to people who are getting a little bit anxious, because let's face it, the end of last year was a bit of a wobbly one, wasn't it? I mean, lots of people didn't even know about the NHR, but then as soon as they found out they weren't getting it, it's like FOMO, wasn't it? It's like, what is this I'm not getting? Oh my God, golden visa, and now this. Portugal's a terrible place to move to. So you've had to kind of talk a lot of people down, I'm guessing, as well.
Well, and I would say to people, they'd call me, they'd be like, what are we going to do? Oh my gosh, that's why I was going to move to Portugal. I said, what was your 11-year plan?
Yeah. Yes.
What was your 11th year plan? It was only good for 10 years. What was are you planning to move to Portugal for life, or 10 years or 5 years? Those things make a difference. And then people will be like, oh, I didn't think about that. What was the 11th year plan? So we get into all of that. I don't convince anyone to move to Portugal. I never would. If people reach out to me and they want to live in Portugal, they're going to get a very real conversation. I don't like the word dreams. I don't like the words like perfect or hidden gems or any of we try to be careful. We need to talk realistically, that whatever issues you have in wherever you live now, if you don't resolve them, they're bound to come with you. You can improve your situation. You can improve your quality of life, but it's not going to be the magic fix-all for everything.
Oh, well said. Fantastic. It's been so good to talk to you this morning. A few more minutes, if I may, of your time.
Yes, I have Oregonians loving Portugal. I'm an Oregonian, so I love the fact that they're on there. I'm from Portland. Well, I grew up in Newport, but from Portland.
Oh, superb. Okay, well, I'll put portugaltheplace.com. We'll pop that into the chat, and as I would have expected, you have inspired a lot of excellent comments in the chat. So there's the website in there, portugaltheplace.com, and I think there are people who already know you as well, of course, here in this community. And thanks everybody for bearing with us. We definitely had a bumpy start this morning, but all is well and good again. Hi all you lovely gumpers from the OLP there. Michael Barton over in Miranda de Corvo. Bon dia, everyone. Yes, we made it in the end. João de Norte celebrating. Big news yesterday. I got my official Portugal driver's license. Yay! Colleen knows these milestones. Fully endorsed with A1, A2, A, B1 and B. Applied in November, received temporary in December, and the wallet card was issued 28th of January. Woohoo! Well done. Great news, João. Thank you, Squire. I'm shaking like a leaf. Hopefully that was nothing to do with us being late this morning, Jackie, in the UK. We had our first consultation last week. Ready for the next one? That's with you, I'm guessing.
Yay! We're looking forward to it.
Morning, Squire. And I can't wait to become a bit Portuguese, says Jackie as well. We've got OLP urging Antonio F. to join the relocation and hospitality industry. If not, you should do that. People like you make me want to move to Portugal. Antonio F. is such a good friend of the show. Cheers, Antonio. Chaka Khan. We've been talking about we've been talking about how great Portugal is. It just suddenly got a whole lot better with Chaka Khan visiting on July the 10th to the Cascais Cool Jazz Festival. Husband Clyde, wasn't he in the rock and roll business back in the day?
Well, way back in the day. Let's just say that his punk music scene definitely isn't continuing. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I remember talking to him about the music industry when we.
Yeah. There was a time in his life when he was in a punk band called The Bottles back in the late 70s. So
really?
Yeah. But we're not encouraging that. So let's.
Are we not? No. I will be. No. I want him to bring the video next time he comes.
No more safety pins through the ears.
All right. Good to hear you this morning, Colleen. Thanks for the discussion, Carl. It's been amazing this morning catching up with you, Colleen. If you think Portugal has a housing crisis, then people should visit Ireland. That's a housing crisis. And well said, Colleen, says Squire of the Shires, to probably many of the things that you've been saying this morning, Colleen. Same with Sephimer. I think it's a good idea. Did they handle it right? Not so much. That's a really good analysis, isn't it? Is it a good idea? Yes. Was it handled well? No. It'd be like, Seth's not working. Let's blow it up. What are you going to do to resolve the issues? Ima, what will they be doing? We don't know yet. That's James.
That sounds pretty familiar.
It does sound very familiar, doesn't it?
Yes.
Perfect is the enemy of the good. I often say this. I say, yeah, excellence is the enemy of the good. Many people stay in horrible countries which don't suit them because they won't move until they find perfect. Yes, it was a good excuse, isn't it? Good cop out, really. Yes, our keys, going back to what you said about safety, Colleen. Yes, our keys are a weapon in the US. That's Nubia Net in California this morning. At lunch yesterday, a delightful Portuguese couple at a table with 6 immigrants from 3 countries commented about a lot of North Americans coming. I know we are a small percentage, but I had no numbers to compare. Still tiny in the scheme of things, right? I think Americans maybe number 20 in all of the groups that moved to Portugal.
Yeah, it's still a very, very small percentage, but we're just a very strong and loud group. So you seem to notice us.
Yeah, I think that's fair. North Americans still tiny. Biggest group Brazilians, followed by British, which jumped up after Brexit. Thanks,
we
James.
don't blend as well. We have a tendency not to blend in. You notice a group of Americans when we're around. So I fully own that. We're still working on it.
Oh, bless you.
I don't think I'll ever get mistaken for being Portuguese. That I'm pretty sure isn't going to happen.
Brilliant. Jardinot, a local friend advised that when you apply with AMT, don't choose your closest office. He said it's better to apply with less congested offices. Well, that was my experience. For example, if you're near the capital, Lisboa, perhaps apply in Santarém. Good plan.
Yes.
We can love being here, and we don't need to sell it to others. Well said. It was hard not to, though, isn't it? I think as well. I don't want to sell it to others. We need to keep the cost low, says James. Like, sure, you people talking about how great Portugal is. Someone did suggest to me that they would pay me to stop doing this.
It's all good. We all want to move here and then not have anyone move after us. So it's kind of that it's ours. Let's not it happen. But you know what? I think there's room for everyone, and I think there's a way to continue to support the local community for sure. And I think that's what we can do well as immigrants and expats. We can come in and we can help them, be stronger and be more solid. And that's what I am very proud of being a part of.
Well, you should be. I mean, I see you just run an amazing organization, and you've told me more about it this morning, which has deepened the love for Portugal, the place this morning, I'm sure, in our community. I don't think I will ever fully understand Portuguese processes. That's a very good position to take or to consider. You may not. I mean, it's an entirely different culture in so many ways. So that's a good thing to think, I think, Darren. And I love punk music, so we do want to see Clyde and maybe a few of those old photos. We also want to meet Carla, Louisa, James, the Slow, Bob and Viv, Wine Club members, and many more. OLP, when are you getting here? And just finally for you, because we need to get the Portugueser on. Colleen, do you know where Silverton, Oregon is?
I do indeed. I know where Silverton, Oregon is. I have certainly driven those areas and absolutely love the falls and going out towards the fields with all the flowers and everything. And of course, drove a lot between Portland and Eugene. So I know those areas well. I was born and raised in Oregon, so it's my backyard.
All right. Sorry, I said there was only one more thing. We've got to include this. She is 100% on point, says Erica K. Safety for women is a huge advantage. And yet we Americans are loud. It's culture and it's okay. Thank you, Erica, for including that. And thanks, Colleen.
Thank you.
We got there in the end in all sorts of ways with the technology this morning, and we've known each other a long time. It's just a delight to have you on the screen and to hear all the wonderful things you've said this morning. So I'm hoping you'll come back. And this will be something a regular thing. And we'll get to meet more of the team, and we'll find out more about lovely Alcobaça. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much. Take care and have fun.
All right, have a great day. Ciao, ciao. I'm well done seeing you. To the end. Wonderful. That's Colleen. Colleen King Showalter. Let's keep that applause going. We'll bring the Portuguese on to the screen. He's a good. Very, very naughty. How are you this morning?
Bom dia.